Hey friends, welcome to One Little Coder. In this video, we are going to look at a simple project, on how to build a Streamlit web application that can do PCA, Principal Component Analysis. Unlike most of our videos, in this video we are not going to live code, or it is not even my own code. So in this, we are going to look at a code that has been already written by somebody who is called Benjamin Jack. So thanks to Benjamin Jack for writing this code and then putting it online with MIT license. So this was written back in, I think, probably 2019. So we are going to use this code, and I'm going to take you through line by line of this code, so you understand what to do and how to do if you are to build this application yourself. So what I've done so far is I've gone to this repository. I've taken the code from Benjamin's repository. So please make sure that you star the repository if you like this project, and if you find it helpful, also to encourage Benjamin to write more open source projects. So let's quickly start and see how this application is going to look like. So before even we can actually see the code, so let's first have a look at the code. How will it look, the final application? So start a new terminal. Let's start a new terminal, and then let's run the application. Streamlit run, and our application name. So I've put it inside a folder. So this is how my directory structure is. I've put it inside my folder, and then from that folder I have opened it on VS Code, and that VS Code is what we are seeing here. So let me open that URL that we just have and then paste it here. So this is how the app looks like currently. So I can make it full screen for all of us to have a look. So this is how the app looks like. Let me zoom in. Reset. Yeah, so we display a data frame, the actual data frame, and then you have got the original data in which you can pick the columns that you want. If you want sepal width, you can pick sepal width. So whatever columns you want, you can pick the column, and then you can actually have a look at how the correlation looks like, especially a scatter plot. So if you see petal length and sepal length, so you would see a positive correlation. So things like this, and then the transform data, and then you can visualize the components. So how the components look like, what kind of relation these components have, and then finally you can also look at the loading for each component. So first component, second component, third component, and finally we are displaying the data frame. This is quite a simple application. So if you look at the number of lines of the code, it is possibly about around with space, all these things, it's less than 70 lines of the code. So let's go ahead and then start looking at the code, and while we are looking at the code, we can also make a little bit change, and then we can see how the change looks like. So Streamlit is required for a web application, and we are using pandas for data manipulation, and we are using NumPy for the same thing, data manipulation. And then finally we are using Plotly Express for interactive visualization. So if you never used Plotly Express, it is a wonderful package from Plotly that really makes it easy for anyone to use Plotly. If you have struggled with Plotly Go objects or making Plotly, so Plotly Express is inspired by ggplot and Seaborn. I've got a separate video for Plotly which I'll link it in the description. You should definitely check it out. And scikit-learn standard scaler for a normalization, and then you have got the PCA from decomposition. So if you are not familiar with PCA, I would encourage you to look at the concept. So basically what we are trying to do is, when we have a lot of columns, this is one of the dimensionality reduction method. So when you have a lot of columns, you may want to represent all these columns using a component so that you can reduce the dimensions. You save your data science problem from the curse of dimensionality. That's one thing. And a lot of business cases, you tend to use PCA even if you do not want to reduce the dimension. For example, let's say you want to create an index, a business index from a bunch of values, and then you want to manually give weightage. A lot of times what happens is you might give equal weightage, average weightage, but if you use PCA, then you can actually take the math you make the data itself to form that equation, and then you can create an index value using the individual values that you have got. So PCA is quite useful in a lot of different cases. You should definitely check it out. So the next thing that we are writing is st.title. So st.title is what you see here, and also let me quickly show you the source of the code. So developer tools, developer tools. If you look at the developer tools, okay, it's not probably loading properly, so I can show the source. Where is my source? Okay, BF source. So if you look at the source, it's all JavaScript, but that is what actually you would see it in the title. So st title is where you would see this. So principal component. If you want to make some change, principal component analysis demo by demo code is what, if you save, you would see that it says that there is a change in your app, so it's asking you to rerun it. When you rerun it, you would see that change. Now if you want a subtitle, so you can say st dot sub header, and then you can say what is it, by Benjamin, or we can say the GitHub, or we can say credit, and then save it and then rerun it. You see there is a subheader. So this is title, and then this is subtitle or subheader, where you can actually write tags or h2 type tag which can help you. So this is what these 3 lines are doing. And the next thing is you have the data frame, and that data frame we are reading from Plotly. This data frame is inbuilt in Plotly, and that is called iris. So the way we are reading it is px.data.iris. After we read that, we are going to drop the species ID column. So there is a column called species ID when you read iris data frame, and we do not want that, and then we are resetting our index. So after that, we are writing the data frame itself. So if you see, the entire data frame is written. You can see that. Let's say you don't want the entire data frame to be written, so you just want the head to be written. So you can change it here. So basically, this is the place where you define the data frame, then save it, rerun it. You would see now you get only 5. So because you have used head as a function to rewrite it. So that is how you write the data frame. And once you write the data frame, now you want a title there, just to say explore original data, and then you want to create 2 drop downs. So the drop down is defined by select box. Then the first argument is select axis, the label, and then the second argument is the list of the items. So you need all the 4 column names. And how do you get the column names? You just mention all the column names, and then you remove the last one, which is species in this case, which is a categorical variable. So you don't want the categorical variable in there, so you just completely remove it. Let me zoom out a little bit so that you can actually see the full code. I think you can see the full code right now. So the same thing that you are going to do for the second axis, except that the label is going to change. So this is x-axis, this is y-axis. You can see x-axis, y-axis, and you have the same set of column names. So whatever you are selecting, the current selection would get added in this. So xvar is your current selection, yvar is your current selection. If you want to quickly check it, you can actually print st.write xvar, save it, run it, then you can see whatever you have selected that appears there. So if I selected a different thing, sepal length. So if you are familiar with the reactive programming paradigm, so you can actually see that this is reactive. The moment you change the drop down, it also changes. You know how you usually see it on a spreadsheet. So you change the cell and then the final value changes. So yeah, so the xvar and yvar, let me just comment it. I don't want we don't want this to be there. So xvar and yvar, so this is where you are getting the input. And once you do that, now you want to make the plot. So the way we make a plot is very simple. px.scatter, px is the alias for Plotly Express here, and scatter plot is scatter, and then the first argument is your data frame, and then the second argument is your x-axis, y-axis, and then you want to highlight it by species, and then you simply write it. There are multiple ways for you to write a plot. There are different functions for it, but this is like the easiest where you can just write the plot itself. And because this is a JavaScript based plot, so you would just directly get it. So until this we have created the UI. So, and we have shown these elements. Now at this point we are going to move ahead with the PCA. So until this it was all if you see the aesthetics, now we are actually getting into the stats part, which is the PCA. How to do PCA in this case. So first you need to normalize the value, so you can actually see the difference here. So you have number at like any scale. Here you basically see it on a Z scale. So first you normalize the numbers using standard scale fit transform, and once you normalize it, you do PCA. So this is where you do PCA. Once you do PCA, now you want to extract the component names. So, and that's what we are actually doing here by calling it column name. So if you write st.write call names and then save it and then rerun it, so it's running and you can see the component names. So these are the component names that we have got from this particular principal component analysis exercise that we did. So once you have that thing, the next thing is you take the principal the transformed result of PCA, and then you give the column names. You give the column names to it so that you can make a data frame out of it, and from that data frame you are also concatenating the species, which is the last column, because it was categorical, you left it at the start. So now you are concatenating it. So making a data frame and then concatenating it just for you to show it here. So this is what we are exactly showing it here, giving a title called transform data, and then after giving transform data, st.write iris transformed df. And after we do that, now it's time for us to write UI components to explore the principal components. And the UI components are very simple. So you have a title, explore principal component, and then you have x variable, and then you have your y variable. The same thing that we did at the top for iris columns, we are going to do it with the transformed data frame, which is the result of the principal component analysis we just built. So after that, again it's the same plot but with different values. Building a scatter plot, the first argument is a data frame, second argument is x, y, and then hue or color with which you want the dots to be colored or identified. So once you are done with that, now we have almost reached the end of it. So now you want to show the component values. So for a particular component, what is the percentage or influence that a particular column has got. So this is again very effective, like the use cases where I said that where you would create an index, or you would try to come up with some number that would represent a bunch of columns. And so this is definitely helpful for you to explain it to business what comprises this column. So like what is this component made of. So that is quite handy in this case, and that's what we are going to see it in the explore loading section. So it's a very simple formula where you have taken the components from iris PCA, you have taken the component values, and then you have multiplied it with the explained variance of square root of explained variance, and that square root is coming from NumPy. I would again encourage you to look at the math or concept behind it. So this is not a video to explain PCA. So our focus is building a web application faster, quicker, with less number of codes. So once you have that, again it's a new data frame, and then you're going to show the data frame, and you're going to have a drop down that would help you select what are the components you want, and then from that you are going to simply show a bar chart. So the way you showed a scatter plot, now you're going to show a bar chart, very similar API. So you have a data frame, and then you just show everything. So the only difference is you are actually saying by what you want it to be sorted. So you are sorting it before presenting the data frame, and then you have your y component, x component, and then you have the orientation. In this case, you want a plot which is horizontal plot, and that's it. You can probably change the orientation of the bars. You can make it vertical so that the chart would look different. And this is again, if you watch my Plotly Express introduction, you would probably get to know. So this is your axis, so -1 to +1 or whatever you would like to see, and then you write the bar chart, and then finally you write the data frame. So let me quickly save it, and then it's going to probably ask us to rerun it once we rerun it, we should see the change in orientation of the bars. So that's the only change I think we have made. So you can see the change in orientation of the bars. Doesn't look that interesting, but yeah, just for educational purpose I'm showing it to you, that you can see the difference. It's still running, you can see it is still running, but that is the main idea of this thing. So this application, this web application made with Streamlit is a very simple application where you take a data set and you do principal component analysis, and then you present your ideas very well with the explainability also, where you are explaining the component values, like the combination of the components, what columns contribute to this particular component, and then you are also giving exact value. So this is usually what business wants. So they don't want just you to make something and then show it to them where they don't understand anything except some pretty nice chart. They want you to explain these things, and that's where I think this kind of web application, especially with something like Streamlit, which is quite handy for anyone to get started with. So throughout this code, if you had seen that we have reused code multiple times, and you would have probably used 3 functions from Streamlit: title, subtitle, subheader, which is subheader, and the next thing is select, the drop down. So these are the main things that you have selected, and you need to know only these things for you to build a Streamlit web application without much effort. So your web application is up and running. Now if you want to deploy it, you can simply deploy it. If you publish this, or if you upload or host this code on GitHub, Streamlit has a very nice, at least for now, free service called Streamlit Sharing, where you can just use that GitHub repository and then publish that code for free, and then your web application is hosted online without much hassle, just one-click deployment. I've also made a separate video about Streamlit Sharing, which I would link in this description. So this takes us to the end of the video. Once again, thanks to Benjamin Jack for making this code and publishing it online, which we have used it for a complete demo. So all credits to Benjamin for making this code and then sharing it with us.